Hello and welcome to TK Services. So today I am going to be discussing a very interesting topic, leave alone that it is quite critical from the subject matter point of view of derivatives, but very interesting. So I'm going to be talking about option strategies. So first and foremost, let me also tell you who the intended audience for this particular topic is going to be. So this video should be very relevant for people who are studying for FRM, the students who are studying for FRM card, students who are studying for CFA level 2, level 3, students who are studying for the CA final examination, strategic financial management, CS final examination. So a very interesting topic called option strategies. So what I'm going to discuss as a part of this particular video, I'm going to tell you about different option strategies, long put as an option strategy, long call as an option strategy, covered call as an option strategy, married put as an option strategy, long straddle, long strangle, and finally culminate with the butterfly option strategy. Very interesting, at the same time can be quite mind consuming because you need to pay careful attention. I'll try to go at a reasonable pace so that you are able to understand the numbers, the graphs, and what I have written as a part of the presentation as well. But at the same time, I would request you, wherever you get stuck, stop the video, maybe rewind it, replay it, and keep doing it till you get a better hang of it. I'm sure you will do it. It's not that difficult, it's quite conceptual. So as long as your concentration levels are high, you should be able to do good with this video. So let's start. Therefore, I'm going to start with the first option strategy, which is called the long put. Or rather, let me start with the long put. So that is what I'm going to start with. So let us get familiar with a few terms. Wherever I have written S0, that is the spot price of the underlying security, that is today. Wherever I have written X, it refers to the exercise price. OP refers to the option premium or the option charge. Remember, options give you the power of choice, and therefore there is a price or a cost attached to it. N is the number of months. In this case, typically substantially for all the examples, I've used a 6-month window. Contracts is the number of option contracts that the investor or the trader is looking at, and underlying is the number of securities or the stocks that form part of each contract. So first of all, try to understand what happens in case of a long put. So let me quickly take you through the slide which tells you about the long put. So if you look at the slide, when should you use the long put? As expected, this is a put option. You will buy a long put, basically means you are buying a put option. You will buy this put option if you are expecting the stock prices to be declining, or you are expecting the stock prices to decline, or rather a better way to put it is the stock prices are expected to be below the exercise price or the strike price before expiration. Only then it makes sense to invest in a put option. So that's a long put strategy. Now, let us also try to look at some numbers which explains this even better. So let's say the underlying has a value of $100. Exercise price is $100. The option premium is 10. 6 months, one contract consisting of 100 underlying stocks. So I've computed the option premium here. So basically the option premium. So if you look at, there are 100 stocks, and for every stock you are paying in one contract into 100 stocks, and for every such stock which forms part of the contract where you have taken an option for that particular stock which costs you $10. So 1 into 100 into 10, that is your total option premium or top that I have mentioned here. Now I have taken 7 scenarios starting and scenario number 1 to scenario number 7. ST is the stock price of the underlying security at time period T, which is nothing but your maturity or expiration. I've taken prices ranging from 70 and goes on till 130. What I've tried to do here is I have tried to put a formula for seeing in which scenarios will an investor or a trader exercise this long put option, or in which cases he will not exercise the put option. Now, quite obviously, as long as the exercise price is more than the stock price at expiration, the investor will exercise, or the trader will exercise, the put option. He will definitely want to sell the stock at $100 where the market price is only $70, because he is getting a $30 profit per share that he is able to fetch by exercising the put option. Okay, so if you see from 70 onwards until 90, as long as the exercise price is more than the stock price, the investor or the trader will exercise the option. 100 is basically the point of indifference, and as the stock price exceeds 100, obviously the trader or the investor will not exercise the put option. Why should he sell a stock at 100 by exercising the put option when he is able to sell the stock in the open market or the spot market at a higher price? So in these scenarios, he will not exercise the put option. So let's look at the gain or the loss. Now, when he exercises the put option, he is therefore gaining, in let's say in this scenario, the exercise price is 100, the stock price expiration is 70, so he's being able to fetch a gain of $30 per share into 100 shares or 100 shocks. That makes it $3,000 minus the option premium of 1,000, so his gain is $2,000. Come to the next stock price of $80. If the stock price at expiration is $80, he is able to, if he exercises the put option, in this case also it is yes, so he's able to sell the share at $100 price, therefore get himself a profit of $20 per share multiplied by 100 shares. That makes it $2,000 of profit minus the $1,000 of option premium, so makes a net gain or loss of $1,000. At 90, he is able to fetch a profit of $10 per share into 100,000 minus 1,000. You have absolutely no profit, so this is your break-even point. And once it crosses 90, at 100, 110, 120, he actually starts incurring losses, because let's say 110, he will obviously not want to sell the stock at an exercise price or strike price of 100 when he can sell it in the open market of at 110. Therefore, he does not exercise the put option. Because he does not exercise the put option, he has a loss of $1,000, which is nothing but the option premium he any which ways has to pay. Remember, whether he exercises the put option or he does not exercise the put option, the option premium has to be paid, because he's bought the option. He has to pay the premium, which is the option price or the option premium or the option charge, irrespective of whether he exercises the option or not, because that is the price he is paying for getting the power of choice. Okay, so now therefore, if you look at his maximum gain that he can extract from this particular contract, the maximum gain will happen when the exercise price obviously remains 100, but when the stock price falls to zero. Just theoretically assume that the stock price falls to zero. When he exercises the put option, he is able to get $100 per share, which is a net profit of $100 per share into 100 shares in that particular contract, makes it $10,000 minus the $1,000 which he any which ways has to pay, gives you a maximum gain of $9,000. However, his downside is capped. By this particular strategy, he's capping his downside, and his downside is capped to $1,000. Now let us look at the graph. If you look at the graph here, now as the stock prices at expiration are increasing, the chances of him utilizing the put option are going down, and therefore his profits are also decreasing. They keep decreasing until they stagnate at $1,000, which is nothing but the option premium which the investor anyways has to pay. So now let's go back and let's try and summarize this strategy in terms of the potential gain or loss. Now, if you look here, the in case of the long put, the maximum gain we discussed is $9,000, and the maximum loss is limited to the option premium, which is $1,000. Let us now move to the next strategy, which is the long call. Now, long call basically means you are going in for a call option. You are buying a call option. When would you buy a call option? When you are expecting the stock prices to appreciate or rise, or you are expecting the stock prices to be above the exercise price or the strike price before expiration so that you can take advantage of this particular opportunity. Let us quickly also now construct a long call strategy. Now, if you look at this long call strategy, the spot price, again, we have assumed it to be $100. Exercise price is $100. Option premium remains at $10 per share. The number of months or the option window is 6 months, one contract with 100 underlying shares. Again, your option premium is one contract into 100 underlying shares into $10 per option. So that is $1,000, which you any which have to pay whether you buy that particular, whether you exercise that option or you do not exercise that option. Now remember, in this particular case, the scenario is reversed. Now you have bought a call option. You will exercise the call option only if the market prices are above the exercise price during expiration, because you would want to buy cheaper so that you can buy the stock cheaper by exercising your put call option and then selling it in the stock market at a higher price. So will you exercise it when the stock price is at expiration is 70? The answer is no. Why would you spend $100 by exercising the call option, spending $100 to buy a stock when you can buy the stock in the open market at 70? So 70, you definitely don't exercise the option, but you will still have to pay the option premium of $1,000. So that remains your net gain or loss. The same is the case for 80, same is the case for 90, same is the case for 100. 100, of course, is the point of indifference. So you do not exercise the option, but you still have to pay $1,000 of option premium. And therefore, your losses are $1,000 in each of these cases. 110, let's look at the scenario where the spot price at expiration is 110. Will you exercise the option? The answer, my dear friends, is yes. Why? Why will you exercise? Because you can buy the underlying security at a price of 100 by exercising the call option, whereas in the open market, if you go to buy the same security, you will have to spend $110. So you are smart. So you will exercise the call option and buy the security at $100, and therefore you have a gain of $10 per share into 100 shares, which is $1,000 minus your option premium of $1,000, which gives you zero gain or loss. At 120, you have a gain of $20 per share multiplied by 100, which is $2,000 minus your option premium of $1,000, gives you a net gain or loss of $1,000. At 130, what happens? At 130, you are getting a price of, you are able to buy the underlying security at $100 when it is available in the open market at 130. So you're potentially looking at a gain of $30 per security into 100 underlying securities, which is $3,000 minus the option premium of $1,000, gives you a gain or loss of $2,000. What I have done now is I have put this in the form of graph. So if you look here, these are the points where the trader or the investor will not exercise the call option because he can easily suffice his requirement by purchasing the security from the open market, right? But where the stock prices at expiration are above the strike price, he will exercise the option because he can buy the security at a cheaper price, and therefore that's when he starts making the gain. But mind you, the long call option is slightly different from the put option. Now there is absolutely no limit to the profits he can make, and therefore if you look here, the maximum gain is unlimited, it can go anywhere, right? But the maximum loss is again capped to $1,000, which is your option premium. Let us now quickly look at the slide which tells you about the potential gains or losses. Now, if you look at the long call, There is unlimited gain because there is no limit to the upward price the stock can attain, whereas your losses are capped at $1,000, which is nothing but your option premium. Now let's look at the married put option. Now let's first take the definition of the married put. What is a married put? When does the investor or the trader use the married put option? Now, when you are bullish on the stock, right? You are bullish about the market rather, and hence you buy the stock because you're expecting the stock prices to rise. But at the same time, you also want to protect your downside because you want to protect against the unanticipated decline in the stock. So therefore, you will not only go long on the stock, you will also go long on the put options to protect or hedge against the possible or unanticipated, rather unanticipated decline in the stock prices, right? So if you have seen my earlier video on the synthetic call option, it is the same. I mean, married put is the same. You're going long on the underlying stock as well as you're going long on the put options, right? Because although you're bullish about the market, you know that the stock prices are going to rise, but you want to protect your downside, right? So you also invest in put options. So let's look at how the graph looks for the married put. Now, if you go to the graph, rather first let's look at the numbers. So same numbers again. The spot price today is $100. The exercise price is $100. The option premium is $10. 6 months window, one contract consisting of 100 underlying securities, giving a total option premium of $1,000. But mind you, here there are two separate gains or losses that you have taken. Because how is it different from a long put? In a long put, you only bought the put option. Whereas in a married put, you have married by the put option with a position of a long on the underlying stock as well. That's why this is called a married put. So here you have two positions. You have gone long on the stock as well as you have invested in the put option, right? So that's why it's called a married put. And therefore, there will be two gains or losses you will have to evaluate. One is the gain or loss on the underlying stock in which you have gone long, and one is the gain or the loss on the put option, right? So there are two different positions that you will have to evaluate and closely ascertain. So let's look at the first scenario where the stock price is 70, right? So if the stock price is 70, guys, what will happen? Will you exercise the put option? You will exercise the put option because you are able to sell the underlying stock at 100, whereas in the open market it is being sold only in $70. So you quickly take up your gain of $3,000, but you also incur an option premium of $1,000. Say for your net gain or loss on the put option is $2,000, 3,000 minus 1,000. However, remember here you have also gone long on the stock. You had bought this stock at 100 and now the stock is trading at 70. Therefore, there is a $30 decline on every stock, 100 stocks in the underlying contract. Therefore, there is a $3,000 of loss on the stock. So if you combine both of these, you get a total net gain or loss of $1,000. Let me also quickly illustrate this to you by way of a written note so that it's much easier for you to grasp. Okay, so now look at the position. Now you have in this particular case, you have two positions. Your position number one is basically you have gone long on the stock. Because you have gone long on the stock, your spot price was $100. So you have bought this stock for $100 per share, and the stock price at expiration was $70. So every security in the contract has lost $30, and that multiplied by the number of securities, you have lost $3,000. So this is only one part of your strategy. The other part was the put option. Now at 70, will you exercise, I mean, when the stock price at expiration is 70, will you exercise the put option? The answer is yes, you will exercise, because you are able to sell the same stock at $100, which is your exercise price or your stock price, whereas in the market it is being sold at $70. So you gain on the options by $30, right? Multiplied by 100, so that is $3,000 of gain, minus your option premium of $1,000, which we have already discussed. So your net gain on the put options is 2,000. So now look here, a loss of $3,000 on the underlying stock and a gain of $2,000 on the put option. So your total combined gain is $1,000, which is what you are looking here. And that is why, friends, this is called a married put, because you have taken two separate positions. One, you have gone long on the stock, you are bullish about the market and about the stock in question. You went long because you are expecting the prices to rise, but you also wanted to protect yourself or hedge against the unanticipated decline in the prices. So you also invested in put options, and therefore this is called a married put, because you have married the put option along with the long position on the underlying stock. And these are your losses or gains at different scenarios. Let's look at 130. Now if the stock prices at expiration is 130, what happens? Will you exercise the put option? The answer is no, but you will still have to bear the option premium, which in this case is $1,000. So that becomes your loss on the put options part of it. Whereas your stock has gained $30 per share into 100 shares, that is $3,000. So your net gain comes to $2,000. Now let's look at the graph of the married put. This is your graph. Now please be very careful when you read this graph. This is not your graph. Your graph is this. So if you look here, the gain or loss on the put position is the one in this color, which is orange color, dark orange. So if you look at your gain or loss on the put option, it slides down as the stock prices are increasing, and then it stagnates to your option premium, right? Whereas on your stock, as your stock prices are, as you're moving from 70 onwards to 130, you are moving from losses to gains on your stock. Therefore, if you look at your total gain or loss, which is represented by the gray color, it starts with a stagnated $1,000 loss and then starts moving upwards, right? So you will look here. Here also the maximum gain on the married put is unlimited. Do you know why? The maximum gain on the stock is unlimited because for the stock perspective, there is no limit to which the stock price can rise. So there is unlimited possible gain on the stock, whereas the losses are capped to $1,000, which is your option premium, which is what is summarized on this slide also. If you look here, now look at the married put. The gains are unlimited, right? But the losses are capped at $1,000. And if you look at the married put strategy, let's look at the definition again just to summarize. When you're bullish on the stock and hence you buy the stock, but also buy the put options to protect against the possible unanticipated decline on the stock prices, right? Now let's move to the next strategy, which is called the covered call strategy. Now, when will you use the covered call strategy? You will use the covered call strategy when you are expecting the stock prices to remain relatively flat. That is when you will sell your call options so that at least you pocket the premium, right? So now let's look at it from the Excel point of view. So I put the covered call here. Now this is your stock price, this is your exercise price, option premium, window, one contract, 100 shares, whether you exercise the option or not. I mean, now please be very careful here. Here you have sold the call options. So whether the other person, the counterparty exercises or not, you will still get the $1,000 of option premium, right? Now, will the other party, because remember you have sold, please look at the definition again. You have covered call, you are expecting the stock to remain relatively flat. You sell the call options for the underlying stock owned. So again, two positions. One, you own the underlying stock and you've sold the call options, right, on the underlying stock. So there are two parts to this problem also. First of all, calculate the gain or loss on the stock. Second, calculate the gain or loss on the call option that you have sold, not bought. So you will have to look at the gain or loss from the counterparty's perspective here. Will the counterparty exercise the option at if the stock prices at expiration is $70? The answer is no, because why should he buy the security at $100 exercise price when he can easily obtain it from the market at 70? Therefore, he does not exercise the option. But irrespective of whether he exercises the option or not, you still get the $1,000. So you gain $1,000 as option premium on this particular contract. But the stock which you had owned, which you had bought at 100, has now declined. The stock prices have declined to 70. So you've lost $30 per share into 100 shares. So you've lost $3,000. So your net gain on the position is $2,000. Same way we move downwards from 80, 90, 100. Let's look at 130. If at 130, will the counterparty exercise the call option? The answer is yes. He will definitely exercise the call option at the strike price, which means he will buy at 100. Whereas if he were to buy at the open market, he would have to buy possibly at 130. So he's saving $30 of cost. The other way to look at it is he can buy from you at 100 and sell it in the market at $30. In either which ways, the gain that he makes is $30, which you have to make up because you are the other party on the contract. So you compensate $3,000 as the gain or the loss rather. So this is the gain to the counterparty. So you have to pay him $3,000. Mind you, he pays you $1,000 as option premium. So your net loss is $2,000. But your stock prices have moved upwards. It has gone from 100 to 130. So you have a gain on the stock $30 per share into 100 shares, $3,000. Therefore, your total gain or loss is $1,000. Now let's look at the maximum gain or the maximum loss. Now this is a very interesting proposition. The maximum gain in this case is your pocket is the premium that you pocket, right? So you have smartly made if you are expecting the stock prices to relatively remain flat, you can sell the call options and pocket the premium. Whereas your maximum loss, on the other hand, can be severely negative because you have sold the call option. So the maximum loss from because the counterparty can exercise to any limit because there's no limit to which the stock prices can rise, and therefore your loss can be unlimited, your exposure can be unlimited. And this is your chart, your graph. If you look at your graph here, let's look at the gain or the loss in the stock. Again, as the stock prices are increasing, you will see the gain increases. Your call option, it starts with, this is your gain on the call. It starts with because in the initial parts he doesn't exercise the call option at all, right? So your gain stagnates at 1,000 and then starts moving downwards as the stock prices start increasing. Mind you, this is where the exposure can be unlimited because there is no limit to which the stock prices can increase and your losses can increase also, right? And this part here, this one, the one in the blue, is actually your total gain or net gain or loss on the combined position, which is called as the covered call position. Now we move to the next position, which is called the long call. Before that, let me quickly take you to the slide which tells you about the covered call. So as I told you, in case of a covered call, your gain is $1,000, which is your premium, whereas your losses can be unlimited. Now let's move to the next strategy, which is called the long straddle. What happens in a long straddle strategy? In a long straddle strategy, you buy both the options. You buy the call option as well as the put option, both at the same expiration, same strike price, as you are unsure of the direction of volatility, which means you know that the stock prices will move, they will be volatile, but you're not sure of what direction they will move in. So you hedge yourself by taking both the and put options, both at the same expiration and same strike price. Mind you, in this case, These are both at the money options. Therefore, it's quite expensive to set up this long straddle strategy because you are taking you're investing in call and put options which are both at the money. Now let's look at it in more detail by looking at the construction. So now you have fairly new parameters here, the spot price of the security at $100. Again, I told you in case of a long straddle, the exercise price of the call and the put option is same $100. The option price of the call and put also is the same $10 because they are both at the money. The number of contracts is the option window time period is 6 months, one contract, 100 securities. So now let's look at the both the options, the call and the put, and the gain or loss on the call and the put. Now, in this case, this is nothing but you have combined the call and the put option. So you as an investor has bought both the both the call option as well as the put option. You will not exercise this your call option in this space because why should you pay $100 for the security when you can buy it at cheaper prices in the market? You will exercise your call option at this space, which I am highlighting in a separate color. Whereas in case of a put option, it's just the reverse. You will exercise your put option in this space, right? When the strike price is above the market prices, or rather when the stock prices at expiration are lower than the market price, right? So let's look at the 70 scenario, which means when the stock price is 70 at expiration, you don't exercise the call option, but you still have to pay the option premium. $100, $10 per share into 100 shares, $1,000 is your loss in the call option. But you do exercise your put option, and you gain how much? You gain $100 is your put option price. You're able to sell at 100, whereas the stock is being sold in the market at 70. You gain $30 per share. $30 into 100, $3,000 is your gain minus $1,000 of option premium. So your net gain is $2,000. So if you look at your total gain, minus 1,000 plus 2,000 will give you $1,000. The same way, all the other parameters are also calculated. And now you reach 130. At 130, let's look at it. Will you exercise the call option this time? Yes, you will exercise. Why will you exercise? Because you are able to buy the stock at 100 where it is in the open market, it is available at 130, right? So what are you going to do? You are going to have a profit of $30 per share. $30 per share into 100 shares, $3,000 is your total gain minus $1,000 of your option premium. So you make a net gain of $2,000, right? Will you exercise the put option in this case? No. Why would you sell at 100 when it can be sold in the market at 130? You don't exercise the put option, but you will still have to pay the option premium of $1,000. That's your net loss on the put. So for your total gain or loss is $1,000, right? Now, maximum gain in this case, maximum gain, my dear friends, because you have a call or put option combined, you have the call, because there is a call option, there is no limit to which the stock prices can move upwards. Therefore, the gain is unlimited, whereas your losses are capped to the option premium combined, mind you, for the call and put. If you combine both, you have a minimum exposure of $2,000. That's your maximum loss that you can get, which you see in this scenario. At expiration, if you are at the money, that is when you have your maximum loss of $2,000, right? Now, this is your graph. Now let's look at the gain or the loss on the call. The call is in the gray. So if you start here, it starts with you not exercising the call option and paying just the option premium. So that's your net loss. And as your prices move upwards, you get more and more gains. And mind you, your gains can be unlimited because there is no limit to which the stock prices can increase. For the put option, you exercise the put options only in this space where the stock prices at expiration is lower than the exercise price. So that's your gain, but it keeps on declining as the stock prices increases, and then you stop exercising the put option, and then for you stagnate on the put option gain. And if you look at the total gain or loss, this is the one in the green. It comes down, reaches the minimum. At the fourth scenario, you will see that the loss is the maximum $2,000, which is nothing but a combination of the premiums that you pay, and then it again starts rising. Comes down, starts rising. Look here, comes down and then again starts rising. So that's a long straddle strategy. So let's look at the definition of a long straddle once again, guys. So a long straddle strategy, you buy at the money call and put options both at the same expiration, same strike price, as you are unsure of the direction of the volatility in the stock prices. Now come to the next one, which is the long strangle. Now what is a long strangle? A long strangle is a very different strategy, guys. In this case, the difference between the long strangle and the long straddle is a long strangle is relatively easier to set up. I mean, in terms of the cost, because you buy out of the money call options, which are slightly cheaper, and both at the same expiration. So you will buy the call above the current market price. That is why the if the exercise price is above the current market price, your call option is out of the money. Same way, your put option is out of the money if the exercise price is below the market price. So you take both out of the money options. So that's a long strangle at the same expiration when you are expecting the stock prices volatility to be very high. So what are you going to do? This is a cheaper strategy. So you can make a lot of money because of excess volatility, and your cost of setup is also cheaper. So when you want a higher volume of profits and when you're expecting a higher volatility is when you enter into a long strangle position. So let's look at it from a numerical perspective. So this is your long strangle. Again, same parameters, but this time it is slightly different. So the spot price is today is $100. The call option is, that means the exercise price is 110. Mind you, at inception, the call option is out of the money. You can see that. Why would you buy today? Why would you exercise the call option today and buy the security at 110 when you can buy it at the open market of $100? So at inception itself, the call option is out of the money. The put option is $90, right? So the put price is $90 at inception. Again, why would you sell at $90 when you can sell it in the open market at $100? So the put is also out of the money. And because both of them are out of the money, you can see here the setup cost is only $10 per option. If you compare it to the long straddle, you had to pay $20. But now you're paying only $10, which is nothing but half. It's not technically half all the time, but yes, to the strangle strategy, it works out to be comparatively cheaper, much cheaper compared to the straddle strategy. Okay, so now say other things remain the same. Let's look at what happens if your stock prices at expiration are $70. Will you exercise the call option? The answer is no, but you will still have to pay the premium. $5 per share into 100 shares, $500. So that's your net gain on loss. Will you exercise the put option? The answer is yes. You can sell it at 90 when the market price is 70. So you make a profit of how much? $20 per share. $20 per share into 100 shares, that is $2,000, minus your option premium of 500 gives you a gain of 1,500. So what's your net gain, guys? Minus 500 plus 1,500, that is $1,000. The same way the other scenarios, the gains or losses are also worked out. Let's look at the 130 scenario. What happens at when the stock prices at expiration are $130? If your stock prices at expiration are $130, will you exercise the call option? The answer is yes. You can buy it at a cheaper price of 110 when the stock price is 130. So you gain a profit of $20 per security into 100. So that is $2,000 minus your option premium of 500. So your net gain on the call option is 500. Will you exercise the put option? No. Why would you sell for 90 when you can sell it in the market at 130? So you will not exercise the put option, but you will still have to pay the option premium of 500. So for your net loss is 1,500 minus 500, which is nothing but $1,000, right? So if you look here, maximum gain, again, because there is a call option, I told you wherever there is a call option, the gains are unlimited because there is no cap on the price on which the stock can take. The losses, however, are capped to your option premium, combined option premium, guys, which is 500 plus 500, which is $1,000, as you can see in these scenarios, right? So now let's look at the graph. Now, if you look at the call option, this is the one in the gray. It stagnates because in the initial parts you will not, if you look here, first 5 scenarios you don't exercise the option at all. Therefore, your loss remains at 500, right? That's the same at 500. After that, it starts rising. There's low limit to the gain which you can make. If you look at the put option, you exercise the put option only in the first 2 scenarios, but it starts decreasing as the stock prices increase and then becomes stagnant at $500 of loss. So it comes down and then stagnates. This is your put. And your total gain or loss, it first comes down, stagnates, and then starts rising. So if you look here, comes down, stagnates, and then starts rising. So this is how a long strangle works. Let's quickly look at it in terms of the definition. So long strangle, you buy out of the money, as I discussed, call options and put options, both at the same expiration when you are expecting the volatility in the stock prices rather. This is a typo, this is not stock process, volatility in the stock prices to be very high. So let me correct this for you so that, and we will again read the definition. Here you go. So I repeat, long strangle, you buy out of the money, call and put options, both at the same expiration when you're expecting the volatility in the stock prices to be very, very high. Remember, that's when you would use the long strangle strategy. And now we come to the most complex guys strategy, which is called the butterfly strategy. And that is the last strategy that is going to be part of this video. So let's look at the definition of the butterfly strategy first. So if you look at the definition of the butterfly strategy, a long butterfly spread, I'm discussing a long butterfly spread, mind you, there could be other butterfly strategies, but a long butterfly spread with calls is a 3-part strategy. You are buying one call at a lower strike price, selling 2 calls at a higher strike price, and again buying one call with an even higher strike price. All calls have the same expiration date and the stock prices are equidistant, right? So I repeat. So let me first put this up for you. So this is your butterfly option. So you're buying 2 calls, one in the money, which is one ITM, and one out of the money, which is OTM, and selling 2 calls which are at the money, ATM. Okay, so that's the butterfly strategy. So the stock prices are like this. The stock price, the numbers are slightly different here. Don't get confused. It's quite simple as long as you have understood the earlier strategies. The stock price is $100. The exercise price of the call option for out of the money is 105. Mind you, out of the money, that's why it is 105, because you would never, if you were to exercise the call option at inception, you will not do it because it's out of the money. Why would you buy at 105 when you can buy it from the market at 100? The exercise price for the call option in the money is 95. This is where it is in the money because you can exercise the option at inception, buy it at 95, sell it in the spot market at 100 and make some money. So that's why this is in the money. And you're selling the call options to at the money, which is equal to, that means your strike price is equal to your market price of 100. Look at the pricing. If you look here, the out of the money options are the cheapest. That is $1.45 here. That is the cheapest. After that is the at the money, slightly more expensive, and the most expensive are in the money options, which is 6.4, right? So 1.45, 3.3, and 6.4. So that's how. So if you look at this part, this is at the center, right? So remember, at the money options are always at the center. Now, what happens if the stock price at expiration is 90? Will you exercise the call option? You will not. Why? And let's look at 3 separately. Okay, so first let's look at the in the money option. In the money option, if you were to buy the security, you'll have to pay 95. Why will you pay it when you can buy it from the open market at 90? So you don't exercise the call option. Because you don't exercise the call option, you still have to pay the option premium 6.4. So that's your net gain or loss. Move to 95. Again, you don't exercise the option. Again, you'll have to pay 6.4. Move to 100. This time you exercise the option. Because you exercise the option, what's your gain? Your gain is you are buying a security at 95, which is worth $100 in the market. So you have a gain of $5 per security. $5 per security, but you'll have to pay 6.4 for that. So minus 6.4 plus 5. So you have a net gain of minus 1.4, right? So your losses come down. What happens when it is 105? Now you start making profits. At 105, you exercise the option. The difference is 10. 10 minus 6.4, you make a profit of 3.6. What happens 110? The difference is 15. 15 minus 6.4, you make a profit of 8.6. So this is how the in the money call options work. Let's look at the out of the money. Same strategy. Now at out of the money also, will you exercise if the stock price is at 90? Why would you exercise at 105? So you don't exercise it here. So you still have to pay the option premium of 1.45. You don't exercise it here. You don't exercise it here. You don't exercise it here. But in all these four scenarios, you still pay the option premium. But in the last scenario, your prices are 110, whereas the out of the money call option exercise price is 105. So here you can make a profit of $5. $5 minus 1.45, which is your cost. Your net gain becomes $3.55. Now let's look at the two call options which you have sold. So remember, now you have sold the options. So you have to look at whether the person will exercise the option or not. We'll have to look at from the counterparty's perspective. In this case, he does not exercise the option, obviously. Why will he exercise and buy at 100 when he can buy it from the open market at 90? This case also he doesn't. This case also he doesn't. But he still has to pay you. Mind you, he has to pay you $6.6 because now you have sold two options. Per option, the price is 3.3. So he pays you $6.6. That's a plus for you. And what happens at 105? This time he exercises the call option because he has a gain of $5. $5 per security, two securities, you have a gain of 10. So that means you have to give him $10 and he has to pay you 6.6. So your net loss is 3.4. Let me illustrate this to you by way of some written notes, guys. Now in this case, what has happened? Look here. You have the stock prices to be 105, right? Whereas the out of the money call option, sorry, at the money call options you have sold for 100, which means the counterparty will exercise the option. He will buy the security from you at 100. Whereas if the open market price is 105, so you have to pay him $5 per share. That's his gain to the counterparty. So that's a loss for you. So your loss is $5 per share, right? Into 2, which is how much? So you lose $10, right? But he pays you an option premium of $6.6, which is $3.3 into 2. So that means you still have a net exposure of $3.4, which is negative, which is your loss. So that's how this thing works. If you look here, you have a net exposure of 3.4. Now let's look at 110. What happens at 110? He exercises the option. He has a gain of $10 this time. 110 minus 100, $10 per security into 2. So that's a total gain of 20. So you owe him $20. He owes you 6.6. Net loss to you is 13.4, right? Now let's try and add all these gains and losses in horizontally. In the first scenario, the combined gain or loss is 1.25. Second scenario, 1.25. Third scenario, you have a gain of 3.75. Fourth scenario, again you have a loss of 1.25. Fifth scenario, again you have a loss of 1.25. So if you look at it very carefully, I've constructed a graph of the total gain or loss. It looks like a butterfly with two wings, which is here, right? That's why this is called a butterfly strategy. Mind you, the maximum gain happens, ignore this please, maximum gain will happen where? In this case, do you see that your maximum gain is at this third scenario, right? Which means when the spot price at expiration is equal to the at the money short call price, that is when you have your maximum gain, right? And your losses are limited to your net gain on the position, which is 1.25. Now how do you get this? See, you have a cost of the in the money option, a cost, rather a price for the at the money option, and a cost for the out of the money option, right? So let's look at each of them. What is your cost for the in the money option? Your cost for the in the money option is 6.4, most expensive. Price of the at the money option, which is what you will receive, which is 3.3, right? Multiplied by 2 because you're selling 2, so you receive 6.6. And the cost of the out of the money options is you will pay because you're buying, so 1.45. So let me illustrate this by minus. This also is minus because you're buying, sorry, because you're buying. Let's sum this all up. So what is your net cost of the strategy? The net cost of the strategy is 1.25. So if you look here, in this case, your losses are capped to the net cost of the strategy. So let me quickly look at the butterfly strategy in terms of the potential gain or loss. So if you look here, the maximum gain will be realized with the stock price is equal to the strike price of the short calls, which is the center strike. I told you it happens when it is equal to the at the money strike price. And your maximum loss is the net cost of the strategy, which is the 1.25 which we discussed. With this, guys, I end the video on option strategies. So we discussed a number of them. We discussed the long put, the long call, the married put, the covered call, the long straddle, the long strangle, and the butterfly strategy. Now that's a lot of information. The video is freely available to you. Keep watching it, keep looking at the Excel file, try to make notes in your book, try to understand each scenario by stopping the video, pausing it wherever you want, going back, until the time you understand the whole thing. And you can always ask me queries in terms of writing comments. I will be more than glad to answer your queries. And I hope you enjoyed the video. Do subscribe to my channel on YouTube, Concept Canvas. Wish you very happy learning. Thank you very much.